All right, today we are getting into one of the most maddening parts of the job search. You know what I'm talking about. That deafening silence after an interview you thought you absolutely nailed. So we're going to decode that silence, figure out why it happens, and, maybe most importantly, uncover what it's really telling you. I mean, you know the feeling, right? You connect with the team, you answer every single question perfectly, and they hit you with that classic line, "We'll be in touch." And then, just crickets. You're left waiting, replaying every single moment, wondering what on earth went wrong. So, yeah, let's pull back the curtain on this whole frustrating mystery. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about that waiting game. Then, we're going to try to translate some of that secret interviewer code. After that, we'll peek behind the scenes at things like hiring freezes and, you guessed it, the ghosting epidemic. And finally, we'll dig into the search for feedback and, this is the big one, learn how to see that silence not just as a rejection, but as some really powerful hidden data. All right, first up, the post-interview silence. We're talking about that anxious waiting game. It's a universal stress for, well, pretty much anyone who's ever put themselves out there for a job. And it's such a common experience, isn't it? You walk out that door and your brain just immediately starts replaying everything. Did I see the right thing? Was that answer about my biggest weakness genuine enough, or did it sound totally fake? It's this spiral of self-doubt, and it's fueled 100% by a lack of communication. But here's the thing, before the silence even really kicks in, there are often these subtle cues, these vague phrases that are basically a kind of polite code. So let's try to translate a couple of the most common ones. Oh, you've definitely heard this one. It sounds kind of hopeful, doesn't it? Like, oh, okay, maybe there's a future chance. But let's be real. The translation is almost always this: you are not on the current shortlist. It's the standard corporate way of saying no for now without actually saying no. Your resume just got placed into a digital folder that, let's face it, might never be opened again. Okay, now this one's a bit tricky. Because, look, it could be completely true. They might genuinely have a ton of other interviews scheduled. But here's the key part. If you hear this without a specific timeline for when they'll get back to you, it often means you just didn't make a strong enough impression to be the front runner. They're still looking, keeping their options open. But, okay, what if the silence has absolutely nothing to do with how you interviewed? I mean, at all. Let's pull back that corporate curtain and look at a huge, often invisible factor: the dreaded hiring freeze. So, a hiring freeze is basically a deliberate pause. The company just decides to stop bringing on new people, usually to cut costs because of money worries or some big internal shakeup. A lot of times, it's what they do to try and avoid layoffs. And you might think this is rare, but the scale of this is massive. A survey of HR managers found that a staggering two-thirds of employers have put some kind of hiring freeze in place. I mean, look at the numbers. 22% have stopped all hiring, and another 44% have partial freezes. So yeah, this isn't some rare thing, it's a huge corporate trend. And the reasons why this happens? Well, they're complex. It's almost never just one thing. It could be jitters about the economy, sudden budget cuts, a messy merger, maybe even pressure from the board to keep the headcount down. The main point is, that role you are absolutely perfect for can just vanish for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with you. Which, of course, leads us right into the ghosting epidemic. This is where the silence isn't just a delay, it's a deliberate choice. And as we're about to see, that choice comes with some very real costs. So when we talk about recruiting, ghosting is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. After all the interviews and the follow-ups, one side, and in this case, it's the company, just vanishes. Poof, without a trace. And this quote from a Reddit user just nails the feeling. After you've poured in all this time and effort, getting ghosted feels so deeply disrespectful. It makes you feel less like a person and more like just another number on a spreadsheet that they can just delete. But here's the kicker. Ghosting isn't just rude. It's actually terrible for business. It actively hurts a company's reputation. Think about it. Candidates who have a bad experience, they talk. They post reviews. In fact, research shows they're up to 4 times less likely to apply again or recommend the company to their friends. This isn't just bad manners. It's a complete failure in brand management. Okay, so let's say you do get a rejection instead of just silence. What's the one thing you really, really want? For most of us, it's simple. It's feedback. So let's talk about why getting that sense of closure is often so darn hard. And this really gets to the heart of the dilemma. On one side, you've got the candidate, right? You need feedback for closure, to understand what happened, and to actually grow professionally. But on the other side, you have the company, and they are often trying to avoid giving it at all costs. And why is that? Well, they're scared of potential lawsuits, they're swamped with applicants, and let's be honest, most hiring managers have zero training on how to give good, constructive feedback. Now, if you do decide to ask for feedback, there's definitely a right way to do it. First, be quick about it. Follow up within a day or two. Use the same method they used to contact you. So if they emailed you, email them back. And this is the most important part. Frame your request around your self-improvement. Ask something like, what can I work on for future opportunities? Not, why didn't you hire me? It just shows maturity and, hey, it keeps the door open.
Okay, let's get to our final section because this is where we're going to completely reframe this entire experience. What if that silence, what if it isn't a rejection of you at all, but instead it's a signal about them?
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The hiring process, it's like a company's first date with you. This is supposed to be when they are on their absolute best behavior, trying to impress you and attract the best people. So you gotta ask yourself, if their whole process is chaotic, vague, and disrespectful when they're supposedly trying to impress you, what do you think it's gonna be like to actually work there day in and day out? A bad hiring experience is almost always a direct preview of a dysfunctional company culture, one where communication is terrible and nobody takes accountability. And that leaves us with one last, really powerful question you should be asking yourself. Instead of what's wrong with me, try asking, what did that silence just tell me about them? Because when you look at it that way, you might realize you didn't get rejected, you got valuable data. And maybe, just maybe, you dodged a massive bullet.